Why a guy like Blake, I literally mentioned you, is not in the NBA.
The kid in me still wants to make it to the NBA.
If I put you in the NBA right now, I'm pretty sure you will average more points than this guy, Jones. I'm pretty sure.
I had the keys to the Ferrari, and I'm trying to drive it as fast as I can.
You're averaging between 27 and 30 points per game.
Well, the fans will say I'm the front runner for the MVP. I really don't care about that. I'm playing to win.
Describe Chanville fans in one word.
In one word.
Riyadi versus Pistons in the NBA. Who wins?
Ooh.
I'm also giving free tickets for the game Riyadi against Maristes in Manara.
That's a game you're not going to want to miss. So to have a chance to get 3 free tickets, man, I might like, comment, and subscribe just so I can be in the giveaway.
Javion Blake, I'm so happy to have you today. You played with Washburn University in Kansas. You played in the NCAA Division II League. You also played all over the world in New Zealand, in Mexico, in Argentina, Czech Republic, Denmark, and now in Lebanon. Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. It's a bit rainy here today, but it's a good Friday.
Yeah, that's good to hear. How is your experience like traveling all over the world? Like, I'm just imagining, you just told me that you moved out from Lebanon, from the States. You were 21, traveling from the first time overseas. How does it feel to travel from the state to another place, like a cultural shock or environment shock? Can you tell me a little bit about it?
Yeah, like you said, I was 21 when I left the States for the first time ever out of the country. But, you know, leaving for college, you got to grow up a lot faster. You know, I started college at 18, so I'm kind of used to jumping in a new environment at an early age. So the adjustment was a bit of a culture shock at first in Australia, but not really, because it's kind of like being in California. The people there speak the same language, the culture, food, everything was pretty similar, but driving on the opposite side of the road, that was probably the toughest thing to adjust to. But after that, you know, it's kind of been smooth sailing. Every country is different, I would say, but, you know, for me, I would kind of focus on adjusting basketball-wise and then adjust off the court after the fact, because at the end of the day, I'm here to do a job, or whatever country I'm in to play basketball. But like I said, I've been a little bit all over the world, you know, just a kid from Kansas, so you know, you see a lot of these places on postcards or in movies, and then you see them in real life, and it's like wow, like this place is a lot more, it's a lot better in person. You know, it's way different. You know, the driving, the food, the language. But I'm having a blast. I'm enjoying, you know, traveling the world and playing basketball at the same time.
Yeah, that's great. You know, I'm also a traveler. I travel all over the world. I've been to 20 countries and I'm still pretty young. And what I noticed the most, and I really like how you mentioned that you first focus on basketball and then you adapt like to the culture, to the environment. And I feel this is super important and it makes you like grow. It's like a global mindset. You know, by traveling, seeing all over different cultures, you become like wiser. You know, you locked in on your basketball and then you adapt to the other stuff. Instead of being distracted from, you know, the environment, the new culture, and trying to fight it, you actually embrace it. And it's nothing but growth. And I feel this is super important. And this is what makes you a good player. I feel the more you travel, the more you get richer.
Yeah, it's almost like I have a funny term I've come up with in the last couple of years of being a chameleon. I feel like I can adapt and stay who I am, stay true to myself, but I can adapt and change to whatever environment I'm in.
Right, especially in Lebanon. Like Lebanon is a little bit different because that's your first time in a Middle East country, right?
Yeah.
That's crazy. How do you feel like Lebanon is compared to other places like Mexico or, I don't know, Czech Republic or Denmark? It's like completely different.
Yeah, getting off the plane, you know, the airports, most airports when you land as a basketball player or just a tourist is pretty much the same. A lot of people embracing their family or, you know, waiting at the gate to, you know, see somebody they haven't seen in a long time or pick them up. So it didn't really hit me till I got in the car, I got picked up and I seen the traffic and I seen just how many people are here in the country. Because, you know, coming from the States or just playing around the world, I didn't really know too much about the Middle East when it came to basketball. Like, I've heard it over the years, but I didn't have a chance to talk to anybody specifically, about the Middle East basketball or Lebanon, what the country is like, anything like that. And, that's something I probably should work on in the future, but also I kind of want to figure out and do my own research with boots on the ground instead of asking somebody and getting a predetermined judgment, and then it's completely different when I get there. I'd rather kind of go in almost blind and kind of figure it out on the fly. Like, obviously, if it's not a place that I would be comfortable playing or it's not the right opportunity for me, I'm not going to sign the contract. But once I sign, it's kind of like, okay, I've done enough research to kind of have a feel for what the country's going to be like. And then getting here, like I said, the biggest thing that stuck out to me at first was the traffic, and just like the freedom to drive how you want to drive here. I think somebody told me the rule here is kind of get yourself out first, so you don't wait or hold up traffic, which is
Right.
That's an interesting rule to live by, or drive by here. But like I said, I'm having a blast here. They've given me a car, which I was skeptical about at first, but now I'm kind of comfortable driving, and if anything, it's made my driving in the States that much better because I'm more aware, more cautious of drivers and driving in a defensive mode, I would say. But yeah, Lebanon
Right.
is the being so close to water, which is good for me being a Kansas kid. I wasn't really exposed to a lot of ocean or water. We have a lake in Kansas, but it's like 2-3 hours from where I grew up. So being so close to the ocean and waking up to the ocean water and the breeze and the sun hitting the water every morning, it's been great. It does a lot for your mind and just soaking in that energy every day. So Lebanon it's a great place. I would say, if I had to tell people about my journey basketball wise, Lebanon is a hidden gem for just being a tourist, visiting, and for basketball players.
Right. You're absolutely correct on what you're saying, especially in Lebanon too. If you think about it, like everything is chaotic, like driving is chaotic, and like the country is chaotic. But at the same time, basketball compared to other Middle East countries is actually good. How do you feel about the league in Lebanon and that controversy between like the country and basketball?
The league here is great, and that's not a stereotypical answer to say as far as being the point guard. And I would say, well, the fans will say I'm the front runner for the MVP. I really don't care about that. I'm playing to win. But the competition-wise, especially this year, I'm hearing a lot that the league is pretty balanced. Like I've heard in the past, the 2-3 import rule, being implemented this year, where you can have 3 imports on the court, changes the dynamic of the league as far as how teams are playing. So every night is a battle. It could be from playing at Suggest, playing at Riyadi, playing in Champville, to playing in NSA, Entrenique, Meru, but every game is going to be a fight. Like some games that you think are going to be an easy game turn out to be the hardest game for you, just from a competition and a focus level, because there's so much talent from the top team to the bottom team. And then the freedom to change players, kind of, I wouldn't say willingly, but I feel a lot of players have come and gone in this league, and that's all over the world. It happens. But with this league, teams adapt really fast, and the play style is fast, but it's also physical, and that's what I like. Like it brings, the European stereotypical physicality in the pros, but it has the up and down, fast-paced, high tempo of a summer league, I would say. So I like it. It fits my game a lot, and I feel like I'm in a situation where I can play my game and nothing's, holding me back as far as like limitations or shoot this shot, play this way. Like I have, like we like to call it back in the days, I have the keys to the Ferrari, and I'm trying to drive it as fast as I can.
Right. So I really like your approach. So that being said, you feel like you're more as a leader in Champville at this point, because correct me if I'm wrong, you're averaging between 27 and 30 points per game, which is incredible for a foreigner that plays with Champville, right? You're not in Sagesse, you're not in Riyadi, like those huge clubs, but Champville is still a very historical and good club. How do you feel like it's impacting your performance? Are you more a leader, or you feel like you're still trying to adapt, your potential is not fully unlocked?
I think it's changed since I got here. I think coming here, I didn't really have an expectation. Me and Coach talked briefly about, what he expected from me. Him being a point guard and him having a great career, we relate a lot to each other. I'm just in a different phase of my life and my journey as a pro than he is as a coach. But he was a player as well, so he understands every player has, goals and want to accomplish the personal goals for themselves first, foremost. Everybody's a team player, but if you don't produce for yourself, it's kind of hard as an import to continue getting success and earning contracts. So I think my role has changed as far as when I first got here. I was filling it out because we had a different team when I first got here. So I think I wasn't taking a back seat, but I knew we had a couple other older players in front of me that had experience in the league. So I was kind of being more of responsive to them, listening and taking advice and, going about how do I lead this team as their point guard and get, Trompville to the playoffs. That was my main focus. Wasn't really focused on scoring a lot or being the MVP or averaging 27 or 30 points like you said. It was more how can I get this team to adapt to how I play. Me being the point guard, I wouldn't say I play a certain way, but my play style you can kind of see is free flow, instinctively, not really too many sets, and it's exciting basketball. So how do I get these guys to understand it's not showboating, it's not playing in a bad American way or a flashy way. It's just how I've always played like this, and it results to winning at the end of the day, and that's what it's about. Where now, halfway through the season, like you said, I think I've taken on a leadership role of, controlling the game in a better way, controlling the pace, knowing when to score, knowing when to pass, but also having the excitement. And I understand playing at Trompville, a team that has a lot of history, that's not, like the Suggest or Riyadi this season, but trying to bring that culture back to Trompville. That's my focus. And I'm aware of that as a point guard and as a player that, kids look up to and inspire. Night in, night out, if I don't score 30 points, it's the way I play and the emotion I play with. That's going to inspire the Trompville fans and ultimately inspire my teammates to follow my lead as their leader.
That's a great answer. So at this point, you're like adapting to the country, but at the same time, and the way like Chanville plays and the way like your coach wants you to play, but at the same time, you have to bring your own background, right? Because you have to bring your, like extra knowledge to the team. It's very sensitive. How do you, I don't know what's the exact word, but you balance between those two. That's it. You balance. Is it like sometimes this is my game, this is how I want you to play, you have to adapt, or you take in between and listen to the coach, what's he saying?
Like I said, the relationship me and Coach have is great. We talk every day before and after practice just about, how I'm feeling, what I see out there, and his expectations and what he sees out there. Whether it's a certain play, formation, how I'm going to be guarded the next game, how I should guard, my matchup next game. So very responsive, and we don't take offense to each other in the game or practice. If he gets on me in practice, I know he's trying to make me the best player I can be. If I say something to him in the game or I don't agree with something he's saying in practice, he's not taking an offense because I'm on the court as the point guard. So my perspective of what I'm experiencing right there might be different than his. And, when your point guard or your best player has a great relationship with the coach, I feel that gives you the best recipe for success for your team, because there is no favoritism. If your coach can't get on your best player or your point guard, like the youngest guy on the team, kind of makes it a little bit hard because other players will see that eventually. And now it's like, why is he getting special treatment? Why is he allowed to get away with this, that? You got to hold everybody accountable.
Right. That's a great way to put it. Blake, I was also watching an NBA game here, and I was watching the Wizards. They're not doing that great this year. And for years, they're not doing good. And I was watching them against the Clippers, and I realized something. And I was with a coach next to me. He's an American coach, a great guy. His name is Stan. And we were watching the game, and there's a player in the Wizards. His name is Jones. And he was like missing every single 3-point. Like literally every open shot, he was missing it. And I was like, how this guy is still playing in the NBA? Like, it's so ridiculous, you know? And then I watched like the Lebanese league. I see you like scoring every 3-point. And I'm like, it doesn't make sense, you know? Like having you scoring and a guy in the NBA not scoring a free shot. It's very injustice. So I asked the coach next to me, he's like, you know, this player Jones, and you know, no hard feelings. It's just how it is. He's like from Duke University, and the coach is from also Duke, and they just, you know, love the college, so that's why he's playing. I'm like, yeah, but why a guy like Blake, I literally mentioned you, he's not in the NBA, you know? So going back to when you started in the NCAA Division 2, why you play Division 2 and why not Division 1? And how did it impact your career?
Like I said, I'm from Olathe, Kansas. It's hard to find on the map, but being a Kansas kid, I would say we haven't had the biggest spotlight, because saying you're from the state of Kansas, there isn't a basketball player in the NBA that kind of comes to mind right off the here in Kansas. You know, if I was from California or Texas or New York, you know, that's kind of an eye-opening state. They have history of NBA players. So my route growing up was more, I always had the talent, but I didn't always show it. I was more like, whatever the team needs first, I know eventually I'm going to be in a position to showcase my talents to ultimately get to the pros. So my high school team, we were stacked. From freshman year to senior year, I had a lot of scorers around me. So I was just, you know, kind of the traditional point guard to get everybody involved. And then when I get mine, I get mine. But it wasn't about scoring for me until senior year high school came, and it was like, okay, I'm the man on my team now. I'm, like you said earlier, the leader. I adapted to the situation. I was the only senior on my team as a high schooler, and I had a group of younger guys under me. So I had to lead them and show them what winning basketball is like, and pretty much put them on my back as far as, this is my last year as a high schooler. They'll have next year to learn and go from what I taught them this year, what I showed them this year. So, but this is my team first. And ultimately, teams don't get scholarships. Players get scholarships. So you have to perform for yourself to earn a scholarship at the next level. And, you know, I had a great senior year, but in high school it's a bit different, you know, unless you're in a bigger state with more exposure. And exposure has changed as far as, you know, like we're doing right now, podcasts, interviews, camera time, all that's changed from when I was in high school. So I think what ultimately led to me going to Division II is just opportunity. You know, I have a big family, so I was thinking about a lot of things when it came to a college decision. Because, you know, could I have walked on at a Division I and possibly earned a scholarship? Yes, but I was also thinking about my family's sacrifice as well. Like, I have a lot of siblings coming after me, so I didn't want to put my mom or dad or my family in a position to put so much pressure financially on themselves or me to, you have to ultimately give it back to us eventually, because you never know what could happen, you know, as far as walking on and the situation doesn't, you know, work out for you, so now you're in debt or anything like that. So my biggest thing when about probably middle of senior year was, I gotta get a full ride scholarship just for my parents. Like, I know I want to do it for myself, but that would make their mindset a lot easier as far as they don't have to worry about me going to college or how am I gonna be able to afford going to college or anything like that, because college is not cheap by any means. So I actually got a funny story about how I actually got to Washburn. So I went to senior prom. You know, just that's like the last hurrah, I would say, as a high schooler. That's like your last dance. So I enjoyed it with my friends, and the next day my mom comes in my room and wakes me up and tells me I got to go to an unsigned senior camp. And this is the night after, you know, senior prom. So I was probably out with my friends probably 2, 3 in the morning, just being a regular kid, you know, just enjoying being in the moment as a 17-year-old kid, you know. So I really wasn't too excited about going to it, but little did I know that decision would change my life and ultimately get to me to where I am right now. I go to the unsigned senior camp, and, you know, my grandpa, he's a very outspoken man. I learned a lot from him as far as like how to carry myself. I probably get a lot of my demeanor from my family, but this story itself, my grandpa, he probably had a lot to do with just getting this opportunity as far as me getting to Washburn. So I'm playing at the unsigned senior camp, and I'm playing with a lot of guys I grew up with or I know, and I'm kind of going through the motions. And my grandpa, he's a friendly guy. Like, if he sees you on the street or you walk past him, he's going to say, hey, how are you doing? How's your day going? He'll hold the door open for you. Just a real gentleman. You know, he was in the Marines, so he has a different type of discipline and respect for people that you don't really see too common anymore, which is great. And he instilled those beliefs and those traditions into me. But yeah, he's talking to a guy on the wall, and that guy ended up being my assistant coach at Washburn. But that was the introductory to, you know, like, who is this kid? Like, who are you here to watch? You know, that's my grandson out there. And, you know, we have, me and my family have a lot of inside jokes and a lot of inside, you know, tips and tricks. And for my grandpa, in this story specifically, he'll whistle, and it's like, that's a responsive thing to me. Like, it's like an attention grabber. Like, when I'm on the basketball court and I can hear him whistle, it's more like, it's either I'm not playing the way I should be, or I need to slow down and analyze what's going on the court. So it can mean a lot of different things. And that one, and when I looked over to him, I seen him talking to what looked like a coach, and it was like, okay, there's probably some interest there, so they want to see more from me. And I think right after that, I ended up scoring like 40 points in the half and like really showcasing my talents. And then, long story short, we set up an official visit probably like a week later after that. Went on an official visit, and like I said, Washburn's in Kansas, so it's about an hour and 5 minutes from where I lived at the time, where I grew up, in Topeka, Kansas. We drove down there, had my official visit, and I knew right away once I started talking to Coach, because my idol and my GOAT, and this might get some backlash because who's the GOAT today, my GOAT will forever be Michael Jordan. And my college coach at the time, he coached on that, not on the dream team, but he was there for practices. So he kind of won me over with the Michael Jordan theories of, yeah, you know, I seen him practice, you know, I was there. So I was sold on that. Like, I'm coming here to play for him. Like, he coached Michael Jordan. That's all I need to hear. He knows what he's talking about. And that's what started my Washburn Division II journey, a full ride scholarship and an opportunity to be who I am. Like, they needed, and that would be my advice to any kid that's going to watch this, you know, when it comes to making a college decision or a team, go to where you're needed. You can go where you want to go. You can go to your dream school, but if they don't need you, it's kind of hard to expect to accomplish your goals or your dreams if you're going somewhere where they just want you instead of need you.
The other thing is that your family supported you. And when your family started supporting you, you started scoring 40 points. So you were comfortable. You were comfortable in a spot where you can actually play basketball, be happy, and then you have family support and you have a story behind it. You have a connection. It's not like you're in the NBA just because you want to be, I don't know, famous. You know, you have a story that you can actually relate and connect to it. And that's great. And maybe if you weren't in that spot, you couldn't go overseas. So everything is linked. And I believe like everything happens for a reason. And at this point, you after went overseas. So that's a great way to put it. And I'm glad you said that. Go to a place where they need you, not want to. That's fact. That's a great one. So after playing with Washburn, did you travel overseas? How was the transition? Like, how did you had an agent. What was the step?
So the step I took to become a pro right after college, I would say I tell the story all the time, or I give advice to people because, they say I was blessed, and I'm blessed to be in the position I am now, and just the circumstances of how it happened, very blessed. But the connections I made at Washburn was life changing, and I have those bonds and connections to this day. I played for two great coaches at the University of Washburn. And then my second coach, he came from a Division I school, so he brought the discipline to be a professional and train like a professional and have the approach of a professional to my mindset. I always had the skill, but I didn't really have a trainer, or my workouts were just being in the gym for hours, envisioning what I want to do in the game, where he kind of taught me real pros go to the gym and work on one specific thing or two specific things over time. Like, you don't got to be in the gym for 3-4 hours to get better. But that's all I did my whole life, where
you got to be
he
specific.
Taught me, go to the gym for an hour or two, work on this, get out of there. Maximize your time so you're not burning out your body. But my situation, we finished our season, and it was probably about a 2-3 week grace period where I had to take in just being a college kid, because for 4 years before I was a college athlete. So I had to learn how to be a regular student and kind of figure out how to not look forward to something basketball wise, because I did it. Now I'm in a grace period where it's like, I don't know what's going to happen. Obviously I want to play pro, but I'm at Division II, and like you said, the Division I guys at the big schools usually get the nod to go pro first. And I didn't really know too much about overseas basketball besides what my mentors and coaches had told me. Like, yeah, it's an opportunity to make a lot of money for yourself. But a kid growing up, you don't say you want to play basketball overseas. You want to be in the NBA. Like, that's the first and foremost goal. So how do I get to the NBA? Not how do I get overseas or how do I become a professional, So my mentors, they did, a lot of work behind the scenes for me as far as making calls, sending my film out, just talking to me and telling me to stay ready. And another great story behind this one of how I got to Australia, I'm hanging out with my college teammates. I think we were watching a game, March Madness or something like that. And my mentor calls me. It's probably like 8 or 9 at night. Just watching the game, probably thinking about where we're going to get food. And I talked to him just about how things are going. I'm working out. Who have I talked to agent-wise, anything like that. And it's a bit slow right now. Only people I'm really in contact with about signing an agent or going pro is my coach and my mentor at the time. So it was a kind of difficult time for me because it was the not knowing, and it was kind of getting to that point where it's like, is this getting out of reach? Because I don't know. But at the time, I didn't know professional contracts, you can get it in a second. Like, I could technically get a call to go play somewhere right now, or opportunity from my agent right now, or whatever the case may be. Like, professional basketball is to the second, like not to the minute, not to the week. It happens every second. People come and go every second. So we're talking, and he played in Australia as well, and he had a really, really good connection with a coach out there that now is a trainer. And he's talking to him about me, and they recommended the Australian team, the Eastern Kalamunda Suns. I'm forever grateful for them, because if it wasn't for them, that wouldn't have been the start of my career, and I don't know where I would be as a professional if not a man today. So,
and that was a Division I team, right, in Australia?
Yeah, they're in the SBL at the time. So not the NBL in Australia, but their summer league team, or their summer league. And he's like, I got this coach. He wants to talk to you. And me knowing Australia is on the opposite side of the world, I'm figuring out the time change. Like, all right, cool. When do you want to talk? Right now. I'm like, oh, like right now he wants to talk. Like, I'm not really in the mindset or thinking about I'm about to open the door professionally. I'm thinking I'm having a conversation with my mentor about what is going to happen, or eventually start getting ready. Like, where now it turns into, like I said, this second could change my life. This next phone call is ultimately changed my life. So we pretty much wrap up the conversation, and the coach calls me probably about 10, 15 minutes later, and the rest is pretty much history. The Australian accent kicked in early for me to hear that. So we have a great bond, and I check in with my Australian teammates every now and then, and I'm forever grateful for that team and those players and everybody that was on the coaching staff and everybody that was a part of that season that we had, because that was a great season for me as a basketball player, but as a rookie to average, I think I averaged 26 and 10 out there. Like, that was just a great overall experience, not only for me to prove to myself, yeah, I came from Division II, I came from Kansas, but at the professional level, I can do this. But I need to see where my ceiling is, whether it's overseas, NBA. Like, I'm always going to try to chase more, because the kid in me still wants to make it to the NBA, regardless of the success I have as an overseas professional.
Right. I was listening to Kobe Bryant. He mentioned he grew up in Italy, and he started overseas. So it doesn't mean, like, if you start overseas that you're not going to end up in NBA. And another example, we had a player in Riyadi who played with Riyadi 1 year and went back to the NBA, Diop. So that's actually facts, that you can play overseas and go back to the NBA. It's all about your mindset. It's all about your connection. And are you playing well? And that's it. So you can do it. It doesn't mean like if you play overseas, which means you're going to be stuck in overseas. So I highly encourage you to keep dreaming, and maybe one day you'll reach the NBA. And do you feel like, I literally told you, like, I was watching the Wizards and I was like, how this guy is playing in the NBA? Like, why not Blake is playing in the NBA? Or why not even a local Lebanese guy is playing in the NBA? Maybe connections, maybe they're not from Duke College, but they can actually do it. Because they're scoring. They're averaging 30 points per game, which is ridiculous. And the other guy is averaging like 3 points a game. Okay, he's playing in the NBA, but he's still missing open shots. So no judgment, but this is how sports is. And this is how life is, if you think about it. It's all about injustice. Like the coach was telling me, like, this coach, like the Wizards coach, I think I'm better than him. And I told him, yeah, I believe you. Why not? You know, I'm pretty sure that you're better than him. But it's all about connection and how you make it. You have to start young. What do you think about that?
I would agree with that. It's all perspective and situational. I think situations have a lot to do with people's career fields, or where they should be at is different than where they're at currently. And, you know, my dad, like I said, my family, they have a lot of good advice, and they're the reason why I carry myself the way I am. I feel like I'm way more knowledgeable than the average 26-year-old. And that's not just saying that just because we're, you know, on the podcast right now. I really feel like that. And when people have conversations with me and I tell them how old I am, they're surprised a lot of times. Like, how are you only 26, but you carry yourself like this, or have you done this? It comes from my support system, what I've been through. But situational, like, you know, my dad has, you know, a good saying as far as what's meant for you won't miss you. You know, and that what that means is, yeah, you might miss opportunity that you think you're ready for right now. It didn't happen. So some way, somehow, you weren't ready for it. Or, you know, everything happens for a reason. So maybe right then and there it wasn't meant to happen. But that's not to say it won't happen ever. And if it doesn't, that's not a failure. It's just things didn't align for you in your life right then and there. What you were giving to what you wanted to be didn't align for the timing that you were supposed to be it. And that's all that means. It's not a fail. It's not a loss. You never lose in life. It's always lessons. It's just about how you apply those lessons to your life to make it a win. If you don't apply those lessons to win, that's when you start losing. But losing is just an idea. It's a mindset. That's all.
So Blake, coming from a very rich family in the States, when you traveled to Australia and then moved to other places like Mexico, New Zealand, and now Lebanon, do you travel alone or you have your family with you?
I'm alone. As far as, like, I would say now the rich family thing, that's a difficult thing to say. Being rich is an idea as well. I never wanted for anything growing up. If I needed something, I have such a big family. They came together to make it happen. But yeah, as far as the opportunity that was given to me, and things being taken care of, my family always made that happen. But I have so many family members, and me jumping around from country to country, I think a lot of it has to do with, like, siblings directly for me. That's what kind of made it tougher for my family to always come with me or always travel with me when I go overseas, because also it was happening all of a sudden. So it's kind of easy for me to, you know, pack up everything and go to another country and play. And it's hard to bring your whole family, because it's like, I never wanted to put my family in a situation where they're giving up their life or what they're doing right then and there to follow me around. You know, everybody has to live life for themselves. Like, I'm chasing my dreams, but that doesn't mean my family's dreams have to jump on board with my dreams. Like, and that's what I never wanted. But the goal is, you know, I've had a couple family members, you know, come around, you know, see me play overseas, or they always watch, you know, no matter what. But as far as, like I said, I have a lot of family, so trying to get them all, you know, to come see me play overseas is a more difficult task than, I would say, the regular athlete. But it's gonna happen. I know it's gonna happen, and I'm gonna keep playing until it happens. Whether I gotta, I gotta get a private plane for myself and get all my family members on it and get them over here to watch. That's so be it. But yeah, my family and my friends, my circle, and they did a lot for me growing up, and I can't thank them enough for making me the man and player I am, because we talk every day. They watch every game, and they're always giving me good feedback when I need it, but they also give me the bad feedback when I need to hear it. If I'm not playing or acting or if we talk on the phone and something seems off, they're not going to hesitate to tell me, like, hey, you look tired, everything going on all right, and what's going on, you eating right, you looking skinny. Like, they're gonna talk to me. They don't see me as the professional basketball player. They see me as Javion Blake, the kid from Olathe, Kansas. I'm checking on his well-being because they know how much they mean to me. So if I'm not in the right headspace, I can't be the player that everybody sees when the lights come on.
That's impressive, man. That's really impressive, traveling all those countries. And now you're 26, so you start traveling at 21, not having any family, like physical support, unless they come a couple of games. I'm just thinking about it. If I don't see my mom or my family for 3-4 months, I feel like I want to see them so bad, because I come from, I'm not talking about rich, about money, but I come from a family where it's rich, like they support you. They're very good at supporting you too. And that's super important, especially as a basketball player. And in 1 second, one contract, one call, you can fly overseas, being away from, and then see them in a year or two. Maybe, when was your last time you saw like your family?
I seen them not too long ago, actually. I was able, to have a break. So I was able to get back and reset my mind and all that. But before that, I left and got here, was that September 26th, which is actually, the story I alluded to earlier. That's my grandpa's birthday. So, it was a tough day for me personally, because obviously my grandpa, that's my guy. Like, he's been there through it all, from my early stages of basketball, my early stages of, becoming a man, life lessons, everything, So that was a tough day. And like I said, I talk to my family, if not every day, every other day, but Sundays is like my days to get my calls out to everybody and just check in. How you doing? What's going on this week? Did you watch the game? You see I got the Kansas City hat on. I'm from Kansas City. What about them Chiefs? Like, we're going back to the Super Bowl, stuff like that. Just checking in on them, letting them know, yeah, basketball is going great for me, but the person that you're talking to right now is doing great as well, not just a basketball player. But
that's a great way to put it. I mean, you're a basketball player on the field, but you're a human, you're a guy. And I was also talking previously with another basketball player. He left now, Sagesse, but he's a great guy, Pierre Jackson, Pappy. And he was telling me, I love basketball a lot, but I love my family more than basketball. I'm not a basketball player all the time. I can be Pierre Jackson outside of the field. I can be a nice guy, just a human. I can go like party, have fun and all of that. And when I'm doing my job on the field, but I'm not like only a basketball player. And what I feel about, I was having a discussion with my friend yesterday about the NBA. It's very a privileged league. Like, you're in a league where obviously you have the best basketball in the world. You have the best players in the world, but it's so concentrated on only basketball and the media and all of that and the entertainment. Like, I was watching a game and you have all that media stuff happening, crazy stuff. It's like too much information. And then when you have players that they don't deserve to be in the league, I'm like, what are they doing? Instead of like doing all of that, maybe work on having good players in the team. That's crazy.
I know what you mean. The media, I watched the NBA my whole life. I always wanted to be an NBA player. I study and watch everybody. And, even, Pierre Jackson, man, shout out to him. I have a funny story about that. Going into that matchup, the kid in me was looking forward to that matchup, because I remember Pierre Jackson going to Baylor and what he did to Kansas University when I think I was a middle schooler or maybe a high schooler at that time. Man, he had a saying back then, and he still uses it to this day. They sleep. Like, me and my friends really took on that saying. Like, man, like, we can relate to that. Like, we're from Kansas. A lot of people don't know who we are. We look at ourselves as underdogs. So, I like how he plays, and to, come have a full circle moment and play against him. I didn't really have the time or opportunity to tell him like you really helped me mold my personality and approach on the basketball court, because we're playing against each other. So I can't really be a fan or give you that nod at the time. But now looking back on it, like, yeah, that was a good milestone for me as the kid, playing against somebody that I looked up to and watched a whole lot, because he played in the NBA. Great player. Just unfortunate situation as far as him getting injured right when he was about to make the next step and make the jump to a serious NBA player. And when, you know, an Achilles, you know, tear or a major injury, that does a lot for your mind and mental as long as you're physical. But as far as the player, Pierre Jackson, man, he deserves his flowers, because whether he knows it or not, he set the example and kind of inspired a lot of players that feel like they're underrated or they're sleeping on, and you just got to show them when you get the opportunity. And maybe that was a little bit more motivation to go at him or play better at Suggest, because he's on the team, because it's like, okay, that's his motto. They're sleep on him, but maybe he sleep on me. He's not taking the matchup serious. Or my whole life, I've always kind of been, you know, the second option or in the shadows when I feel like I'm a spotlight player, and this is an opportunity to show it against a high caliber household name like Pierre Jackson. So shout out to Pierre Jackson, man.
Yeah, like, I believe, that's my personal belief. If I put you in the NBA right now, like the game I watched, Wizards versus like Clippers, if I put you in the game, I'm pretty sure you will average more points than this guy, Jones. I'm pretty sure. Even if you never like train in the NBA or anything, like just like the adrenaline and the fact that you're in the NBA, I think you can make it, like, definitely, maybe not 30 points, but 5 to 10 points. At least 5 to 10 points. That's my belief. And going back to Pierre Jackson too, he's at a point where he's inspiring people. Like, it's more like he was a follower first, then he was a leader, and now he's inspiring people. And I see that a lot in sports. Like, go back to Kobe. He was leading with the LA. He won like numerous championships. And then he started inspiring people by doing podcasts, motivational speaker, audiobooks, things for kids to inspire them to play more basketball. And I feel this is like a great way to be an athlete, and I believe you can do that, and I encourage you to follow that right. Like, go to a point where you can inspire people. That will be a great opportunity for you to grow more.
Yeah, that's the plan. Like you said, alluded to Kobe, and that's another GOAT in my eyes. And I was just having this conversation with my close friends the other day, and this is a timeless debate. Who is the GOAT? And the idea has shifted because times are different. It used to be the GOAT is only one person, where it's a perspective for you, who you seen the most, who you watched the most. But why is it that there only has to be one GOAT? Because we know how great Michael Jordan was. We know how great Kobe was. We know how great LeBron is. After LeBron, why can't there be another GOAT? Basketball is going to continue. The GOATs, it could be a Mount Rushmore. It's kind of hard to say this one player is the greatest basketball player or athlete of all time, and no other athlete will ever surpass him. You can't foresee the next generation. I can guarantee you 20, 30 years ago, they weren't thinking that Steph Curry was going to come along and shoot the way he does. And maybe 20 years from now, we might see Victor Wembanyama. We've never seen nothing like that. Can he have the GOAT status? We don't know, but we've never seen a player with his size, his ability, his just IQ, and he's an international player. So he's bringing a different swagger and following fan-wise to the NBA.
Which is great, by the way.
Kobe, Michael Jordan, LeBron, like all those guys inspired in their own way. Like you said, Kobe went through phases where as a kid, he wasn't the leader. He had to earn that right through work ethic and winning and all that. And then he became the best player in the league. Now you're inspiring because you're looked at as the face of the NBA, the best player in the league. Now, once you get to your older stage where these younger guys look up to you in the NBA, now they used to be kids. Now they're playing against you, looking up to you. Now it's now you're the mentor. Now you're on podcasts. Now you're training, audiobooks, because these kids you used to talk to now are matching up with you in the NBA. And I think LeBron is right there on that verge of getting to there. But it's like LeBron is also doing something we've never seen before. We've never seen a guy be at the top of his game or top 5 in the NBA for 20 years straight. I don't know if that will ever be done again just off of longevity. But also a lot of people forget Kevin Durant isn't too far away from LeBron's longevity. He hasn't done it the same way. He's done it on a different path. But as far as a scorer, we haven't seen a player score the ball for as long as he has. And that's another argument. LeBron being a scorer, yes, he scored off of longevity and opportunity to always be the number one option. But Kevin Durant, another guy that played in the Big 12 at Texas, destroyed Kansas every time. We knew from then he's going to be arguably the best scorer of all time just based off of you can throw him in any era and he's going to score the ball the same way. The difference with LeBron is you throw him in any era, he might not score the same way just based off of how he's going to play and his IQ to be a winner. Kevin Durant is what we call a straight bucket. Like he's trying to score the ball as much and as many as possible. He's a pure bucket. LeBron's not a, I won't say he's not a bucket. He's trying to win. That's what he's trying to do.
Right. Yeah, I absolutely agree. Blake, let's do some Q&As. We have a lot of stuff. So let's start with the first question. It's Jean M.K. Khiber is asking you, would you like to stay in LBL, especially in the Maristes club, or you're searching for higher leagues?
Yeah, I would like to stay. My loyalties wherever my feet are at the time. You know, Champville is treating me great. I'm having a great career. I'm having a great season under them, and I like being the underdog. So I won't say bringing back a team that was great, but I think the expectations for fans in the league weren't for Maristes to be so high in the standings right now. So I like that approach of kind of shocking people when they underestimate you or they think you're going to be like this and then you end up turning around. But I'm not opposed to playing, anywhere else as far as, higher leagues, because my dream is the NBA. And that's no disrespect or nothing personal to any team that wants to sign me or the team I'm playing for now. Personally, I want to play in the NBA, but my feet and my loyalty will always go to whatever team I'm playing for right then and there. So until the season is over, until I have to make a decision, Champville is the best team in the world.
All right. Bedick13 is asking you, do you have any advice for the young basketball players?
Yeah, man. I don't know everything. And even if a kid looks up to me, thinks I'm the best player he's seen, I don't know everything. So listen, be responsive, and learn, and watch basketball. I feel like a lot of kids or people look for the answers from somebody they look up to. Like, I can tell you how to be an NBA player. I can tell you how to play like me. I can tell you how to play like Kobe, LeBron, whatever. If you watch everybody and take bits and pieces and listen to what they're saying and apply it to your game, and how you play would be different than how I play and what I need to do on the court. So just listen and just have fun with it. There's no pressure growing up and not being the best right then and there. I wasn't the best player at 6, 7, 8 years old, but at 26, am I the best player in the league? Only time will tell. So just stay with it, keep grinding. It's easier said than done, but you never know, because the day you give up on it or the day that you don't feel like going to the gym, somebody else is going to it, so they're passing you up. So how can you be the greatest if you don't work like you're the greatest?
Yeah. Gabby X Chavez is telling you, it's not a question, but just know Hazy and I are so proud of you every single day.
Thank you. Shout out to Gabby X Chavez, man. Real solid rock in my life, man. And I would turn my hat around for y'all to see, but yeah, shout out to Hazy too, man. Those two have a special place in my heart forever.
Right. Lulzel1 is asking you, what does what does Suavi mean to him as a nickname?
That's my guy as well. That's actually that's actually my little brother, and then Gabby and Hezi. You know, that's my family as well. Connection, and that's my son, and that's my girl as well. You know, so like I said, those three people right there, you know, they hold a lot of weight for me, and you know, responsibility as far as I have to, you know, answer to them forever and always. But Swavy, that name started a long time ago. I haven't really heard it a lot. But I used to have a Nike shirt that said "So Wavy," and one of my friends in high school, he put it together and just started calling me Swavy. And what that means is, like, I'm a real laid back, real chill person. So my demeanor comes off as, oh, he just so wavy. He thinks he's too cool. So that's where that name kind of came about. And my little brother, he's just like me, super laid back, probably too nonchalant at times. And we've talked about that, but, you know, that's my guy no matter what. I always got his back, and I can't wait to see what he does with his life and where his journey takes him. But Swavy it's a name that will live on forever, and I feel like it's more of a lifestyle. Like, Swavy is how you carry yourself.
All right, let's move to the next one. Mario El is asking you 2 questions, so let's make it fast. Will you renew your contract with Maristes this year, or next year actually? And how do you evaluate the Lebanese league?
Will I renew my contract with Maristes? I
Next
guess
year.
only time will tell. Like I said, I'm very comfortable and I love where I'm at. But only time will tell. I would love to renew my contract. But also, you know, Mike James has a good saying, man, ain't no discounts on my services. And I'm only getting better. But
Right.
and the second part of the question, how do I evaluate the league? It's great from top to bottom. I feel like we're generating some real rivalries, and I feel like that's what also kind of makes me want to stay in the league more. Is there's personal rivalries as far as player matchups and teams that I like. So I love it. I love, you know, going at Suggest. I'm looking forward to playing at Riyadi because I heard they're gonna have a great crowd as well. So, you know, bring it on. I love it.
All right. So Mark Brahim is asking you, how are you that good?
Yeah, man, it's just been a long time coming, man. I started playing basketball when I was 2 years old. So I've always had a ball in my hands, and I just wanted it. I'm really driven. You know, I have a lot of support and family and friends that play basketball, and we've been doing it for a long time. And just real driven. You know, I feel like I want it more than anybody else that I'm playing against or with, and I feel like that shows on the court. So I would say and I put the work in. I would say that's how I'm really that good.
Right. Michael Dow is asking you, what do you think of Chonville fans and community and even the club itself?
One of the best I've seen just in my career or just from a fan standpoint. Like, what they bring to our games and even on road games, man, it's real support. Like, every fan, like, when you're playing bad, obviously they're going to have something bad to say. But at least Chonville fans, I haven't heard it. There's not really a lot of negativity. They're riding with us, win, lose, or draw. If I shoot 0 for 30, yeah, they're going to have some bad things to say, but it's still, Blake, you're the best. And that's what it's about.
All right. Eli Mallo, we already answered your question, so I'm going to skip it. Nino Hashim is asking, is there a specific game or moment that stands out as particularly memorable?
Yes. My 25th birthday, I won my first professional championship and my first MVP, and that will live on with me forever. It's kind of, you only turn 25 once. You only win your first championship and MVP one time, and to do it all on the same day, man, it's hard to forget that when it comes to a basketball player.
Where was that?
In Mexico.
Mexico. Okay, great. Karim El Baba is asking you, who's the best Lebanese player at the league? In the league.
Best Lebanese player. I might have to go with Amir from Riyadi. He probably has impressed me the most, especially from a matchup standpoint. Like, when we played against them, I heard a lot about him. I knew what he can do, and he showed up. It's different when you make a scouting report to take away somebody's strengths, and they still play to their strengths. So I would say he's my favorite and the best Lebanese player I've had the chance to match up with so far.
Interesting. So Karim Abab is also asking who's the best foreigner in the league other than Chanville players or foreigners.
Best foreigner in the league.
Did you hear the question?
Yeah, I did. It's a lot. Everybody's good. But who's the best? I'm gonna have to go with the foreigner from NSA, Brian Halems, I think is his last name. Because some of his dunks that he looks like Russell Westbrook out here sometimes. So he probably is the best forward, I would have to say. Besides, if it was there no stipulations on the question, I'm going with me and my guys over any foreigner. But I had to probably give it to the NSA guard, Brian.
Okay. So Khalid Hosseini has 2 questions. The first one, do you think Riyadi can beat a team from the NBA? That's the first question. And the second one, Riyadi versus Pistons in the NBA, who wins? That's actually a great question.
It's great questions for sure, but I can't say that the Riyadi's beating the NBA team just based off of on paper. Yes, that's a possibility, but like once Riyadi steps into the arena with an NBA team, the NBA players are gonna look at it as like, this is disrespectful. Like, no disrespect to Riyadi or any team outside the NBA, but when you're stepping on the court with an NBA franchise, their consequences are going to be way higher to lose. So, like, they're going to do everything in their power to not lose. And then to play against the Pistons, like I said, on paper and the record-wise, it looks good, but Riyadi got a great team, but I don't know who in the league can match up with players like Cade Cunningham, Jalen Duran. Like Cade Cunningham is a legit 6'9" point guard. So it would be a tough one. Like if we could technically make that happen, I want front row seats to watch that game.
I believe that they can win. Like if Riyadi plays against the Pistons, because Pistons, think about it, they're not good at all. They're not winning, and they're like maybe mentally so down, and Riyadi, they're so high, they're winning a lot. But if you take that like on papers, that will be tough, but in the situation they are right now, I think Riyadi can win. So it's a situational problem or situational objective point of view. Like you mentioned before, everything is situation. It's not like something you can, sports is not something on the paper. It's very objective, subjective too, and situational at the moment. How's the team doing? So that's a good question, by the way.
It is.
So a question from Overlook Property is asking, don't you, I think, recognize that your chances in winning elevated a lot after Ali Rustam addition? So I think he's saying like Ali Rustam playing with the team elevated the game.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's another leader, mentor that I feel we have a great relationship because he has the expectation for me to be who I am, no hold back or anything. Like a lot of time he'll come to me like, Jay, it's time, take over, do what you do. Like we're here for you, we're ready. But it starts with you. And I can't thank my teammates and my coaches enough. I already have self-confidence, but when you hear on the court, when you're in the heat of battle, it does something different for you. Yeah, so definitely he has improved and helped our team out tremendously.
Yeah, I think when Ali Rustam started playing with Chanville or Maristes, like you started winning more. You're ranked 3rd now. So everything changed. Like his aspect or just his presence on the field changed a lot.
Yeah.
So Cizahur is asking you, describe Chanville fans in one word.
In one word. Ooh.
That's a tough one.
It is one word. Energetic.
Yeah, what?
Energetic. We'll say energetic because they bring the energy, man, no matter what.
Right. And Blake, you know what? I'm also giving free tickets for the game Riyadi against Maristes in Manara. So that will be very intense. That game is, I think, in 2 weeks from now, and we're giving 3 free tickets. And all you have to do is subscribe, like, and comment to the YouTube channel. I just want to make sure that it's the game Riyadi versus Maristes. That will be a good one. Are you excited for this one?
If y'all don't want it, 3 free tickets to that type of game at Riyadi, and you get a chance to see high level basketball, man, I don't know what you're doing, man. That's gonna be a good game, and you hearing it from me first. That's a game you're not gonna want to miss. So to have a chance to get 3 free tickets, man, I might like, comment, and subscribe just so I can be in the giveaway.
A good way to put it. Well, Javion, thank you so much for this podcast, and talk to you soon, man.
Hey, man, appreciate it, man. Like I said, like, comment, subscribe for that giveaway for the tickets. And we get enough requests, we might have to do a part 2. Appreciate you for having me.
Sure.